Hello dear students, today we are going to start the second chapter of chemistry, class 8, physical and chemical changes. Before we know what are the physical and chemical changes, first let us understand what are changes and why is it so important. Change is a natural and universal phenomena. Like we are growing. You were born as a small child and now you might have grown and you are 12-13 years old. Then you'll become an adult and so on. So growth is a change. A seed is growing into a plant. You have seen examples of various seeds being planted into the soil which convert into a plant, and they take a lot of time, maybe a few days and so on. Then you have seen melting of ice, and there are so many changes around us. Change is very important because without change there will be no growth and development. You just imagine a world where there is no change, there is no growth, there is nothing which changes. Then the world would not be as it is now. So change is very important as it is helping in the growth and development of things, substances, of human beings, plants and everything. When changes take place, the substances may change in the shape, state, color. These are some physical things. There also may be change in the chemical composition. And changes can be classified into many types. So as we begin the changes, now let us understand the various types of changes. Even though you might have an idea about the various kind of changes and you might have read them in the earlier classes, we will recap all those changes. So the first kind of change is natural and human-made changes. The changes that occur in the nature, they are called the natural changes. So you cannot change them because they are naturally happening. Like sunrise and sunset, changes in the season, changes in the day and night, the revolution and rotation of the earth. You don't have any control over them. They happen naturally. So such changes are known as natural changes. Then comes the changes that occur due to the actions of the human beings. And such changes are called as man-made or human-made changes because that is happening because of the action of the humans. Human beings are involved in those changes. So it may be like cutting of trees. We are cutting them. Humans are cutting. Maybe to make industries or for different purposes. We are doing farming to grow crops. We are cooking food. And all these changes which are done or made by human beings are the human-made changes. So this is first category of changes. Then comes the periodic and non-periodic changes. So as the term you can understand, periodic, a change that is happening at regular interval of time. It is in a systematic change or a change happening at regular interval of time, like the changes of the day and night. There is a span of time around which the change happens. The swinging of a pendulum, you might be reading in physics about the pendulum. The swinging or the movement of the pendulum is a periodic change. Then there is change of season. After every 3 to 4 months you see changes in the season. So all those changes which are happening at regular interval of times are called the periodic changes. Then the opposite of the periodic change is the non-periodic change, a change which is occurring anytime, which is irregular, or the change that may occur at any time or irregularly are called the non-periodic changes. Like an earthquake, we never know when the next earthquake is going to happen. A landslide during rainy season or normally also near the mountainous area, there happens many times. Landslides keep happening. So we never know when is the next landslide going to happen. So the time interval is not fixed. A dust storm, cyclones, we cannot predict the actual difference, or there is no regular time interval between the cyclones taking place. Then comes the slow changes and the fast change. Again, by the name itself you can understand that changes which are occurring over a long period of time. They are the slow changes which takes a lot of time. Like you are growing from a child to a teenage, and then to an adult, and then to an old person. It takes time, it takes years. Similarly, the growth of a seed, all these changes are very slow. They take a lot of time to happen. And the changes that occur within a very short period of time or within seconds is called the fast change. Like you're burning a matchstick, or you're burning paper, bursting of an inflated balloon. You blow a balloon and just a prick, in a fraction of a second the balloon burst. Lightning during thunderstorm, all these happen very fast. So the next category that we discussed was periodic and non-periodic, slow changes and fast changes. The next one is desirable and undesirable changes. Now, changes that are useful to us, generally for the human beings, and also for the environment, we can say, those changes are desirable changes. Like the rain is helping for the growth of the plant. So it is for the growth of the crops. It is essential for us. It is good for the farmers. When it rains, they feel happy because the crops can get sufficient water. So that is a desirable change. Then ripening of fruit. Many fruits, when they ripen, we like to eat them. And the photosynthesis. All these changes which we want for our benefit. Or maybe like your mother is preparing some curd from the milk. So that's a desirable change because she wants curd from the milk. Similarly, changes that are harmful to us or causes destruction is called the undesirable change. Like a cyclonic storm, recently there was cyclone Amphan, and there have been so many cyclones which no one wants to happen, but they happen naturally. So you can say they are natural changes also, and they are the undesirable changes because they cause destruction. Then spoiling of food, rotting of the fruit, or the soil erosion, we can classify them as the undesirable changes because we don't want such things to happen. Now also you may see that some changes are desirable for us and some are undesirable, and it may also happen that sometime, like for example rain, I told you it is a desirable change, but when there is too much of rain and it causes flood, then it may be termed as undesirable change. So the desirable and undesirable is a very, like one change which may be desirable for one may not be desirable for the other person. So it is always not very easy to classify what can be desirable and what can be undesirable. Next we go to the reversible and irreversible change. Again, you can understand by the name a change which is happening, which can be when a new substance is formed, or it can be returned back to its original state. That is a reversible change. A change that can be reversed by reversing the conditions, that is brought back to its original condition. So like if I stretch a rubber band, what is it? I can leave it and it will again come back to its original shape. That can be example of a reversible change. The evaporation of water, the melting of ice, all these are reversible changes. Similarly, a change cannot be reversed or its original state cannot be got back, then we call it as an irreversible change. Like burning of paper, we cannot get the paper back once it is burnt. Then ripening of the fruit, I can't get the raw fruit again once the fruit has ripened. And cooking of the rice, once you cook the rice, this hard rice changes into the soft and fluffy cooked rice. So these changes are irreversible, which cannot be brought back to the original state. Then we go to the next kind, that is physical and chemical changes. A physical change is a change in which no new substances are formed. So this physical and chemical changes, you can see they are broad classification under which all the other changes can be categorized. And the chemical change or the composition in a chemical of the chemicals in a physical change does not get altered or does not get changed. Like water is changing into ice. You can change ice back to water. Similarly, dissolving the salt into water or sugar into water, drying of the clothes. These are the physical changes. Similarly, a chemical change is a permanent change in which the original substance loses its own composition and property. So, for example, like you are burning wood. So, the wood is completely changing into ash and the chemical property changes. Digestion of the food, ripening of the fruits. There are some change in the chemical composition in all these changes, and such changes are called chemical changes. Thank you.